Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Set the Pipe. I am Sully. There's CK. And then there's Bear.
Hey.
Fellas, we just finished the Elite Eight in women's volleyball. We now have the Final Four, and we're talking Texas A&M versus Pitt. And on the other side of the bracket, we have Wisconsin and Kentucky, but we definitely want to talk about what just happened and maybe some predictions in the future. But we've got a pretty good Final Four.
I have to say it. So I'm one for two. I said Long Beach was going to win it right when the season started, and they won it. I said Nebraska was not going to lose, and I was wrong. I watched the entire match to see Nebraska have their starting opposite get hurt, I believe. Sully?
Yeah,
we talked about that.
Warm-ups.
Before the match.
Rolled their ankle in warm-ups, didn't even play. Nope. And for them to go all the way to 5 and barely lose is obviously a testament how great they were. But it's also shows how hard it is to win those things. And A&M played amazing.
Nothing's guaranteed.
Nothing's guaranteed. And the one thing I will say about that match, if I was an outsider that kind of knew volleyball a little bit, but wasn't like we knew it, I'd have said Texas A&M came in there to kick their ass. Yeah. They came in there ready for battle. They didn't come, oh my God, we're playing Nebraska, let's hope we can win. They were coming in ready to kick someone's butt. And Nebraska did everything they could to hold off and try and get that through there, and they just couldn't. So super exciting. Happy for A&M. Never been to a Final Four for women's volleyball. First time for them. First time for the program. And again, another SEC school. So just rad for them.
Can we go back a little bit to the fourth set of that match?
Of Nebraska and Texas.
Yeah, I mean, 37-35, right? I mean, incredible.
Yeah,
and
it was.
From 23 all, I guess it was.
Yep.
I mean, that's about as exciting as it gets, isn't it? I mean, it could go either way. The battles, the long rallies. Incredible.
It was incredible. And even the fifth set, 15-13 is when they won it. But I want to give some high praise to Nebraska, right? You had your opposite go down, in warm-ups. You had your starting All-American setter that's up for Player of the Year, sick as can be.
Yeah.
They didn't have a backup setter. Backup setter broke her pinky. She wasn't even going to play at all. So you had those things all wrapped up, and it still went the distance in 4 and then some, and then it went 15-13. That's how good Nebraska was all year long. And Cole, you're right. I mean, I was looking at Texas A&M after the first set, and I'm like, none of them are cheering like, oh, this was the greatest thing ever. They were on a mission. And even as Nebraska is deep on their bench, it didn't work out for them. But Texas A&M's like, here's an opportunity. And they, like I said, they weren't celebrating. That was my biggest key. It's like, oh shoot, they're not celebrating at all in between sets. They're
acted like they've been there before, right?
They're
That's what they did.
In it to win it. And Jamie Morrison, right, taking the reins out of Texas A&M. They're not a traditional powerhouse by any means.
Yeah. So they are now, and they're going to continue. I'm going to go back to that one game, Bear, the fourth game that went
crazy
forever. What I kept saying to Mooney as we're watching it is like, it was like, man, this is Apollo and Rocky. Like this is, you hear about it all the time in pro men's sports when the basketball and like someone hits a 3 and then the next guy, you're like, wow, like they're going blow for blow, or like they're hitting the shot after shot. You're just like, it was that. It was just play after play after elite high level
much on the
play,
line too,
back and forth.
Yep.
A mistake, we don't make the mistake. We don't make another. It just was, and it's like one of those things.
Contact matters.
Every last second mattered, and just like I said about the World Series, even though I was cheering and wanted the Dodgers to win, when we talk about competing, we've done it before with a few of our guests, and we all did, and we had that in the cloth that we're all cut from. When you compete at that level and you give everything you have, it's a bummer someone has to lose. Right, it really is. Yeah. But that's what makes sports so great. And that fourth game or set in that match was exactly that. It was a heavyweight fight. It was blow for blow. It was like whoever had the ball last got to win that game, right? And it was like I said, it was like the highest level we can see in this country in our women's sport. They gave it to us. They gave everything they had in that game or that set and that match, and it was just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to tell you, Harper Murray really handled herself very professionally afterwards in the press conference. It's really, really hard to do. But I have to give huge kudos and Coley to be in the middle. Rebecca, Alec out of the middle. I can't even tell you the Texas A&M people who know volleyball could not wait for her to get out of that front row, those last points, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, we have a chance, because she was playing pretty darn good. And when she got the ball or she went up to block, something really happened. And as soon as she was subbed out, everybody in my house was like, uh-oh, A&M could win this thing. And A&M's block was tremendous. I do want to talk about the viewership that went on, that we've been talking about all year long, how volleyball is just exploding. That match, Texas A&M and Nebraska, 1.2 million viewers to watch that match. And then the match the match before they got to the Elite Eight, Nebraska and Kansas, 718,000 viewers. A&M versus Louisville was 674,000 viewers. That is just unbelievable to me, and I just don't see it stopping, to be quite honest.
You know, we say it all the time on here. It's breaking records, and why wouldn't it? You know, like, you know, again, we'll talk about Texas and them losing, and you know, Marcus Spears, you know, his daughter's a star freshman, and you know, he has a platform, and he tweeted something either middle of the game or whatever, something like
during the game.
If you're not watching women's volleyball, you're missing out, or something like this is such an exciting sport. If you're watching it, which people are right now, they're starting to see what we've known for a long time.
Yeah,
it's a super exciting sport. And if you happen to catch that game, the one we're just talking about with A&M, and watch that fourth set, I mean, how do you not walk away from there and going, man, I want to play. I want to have my daughter play. Right. I want to watch the next match. And the other thing I'll say that's really cool, and, you know, Barnett talked about this. It was on ABC. I'm sitting in my house on Sunday, and I'm watching one match on ABC and the next one after an hour, 2 hours later on ESPN. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on right now in women's sports. Women's college volleyball is on ABC and ESPN on a Sunday during the NFL season. It's just, it's awesome. I can't say anything more than, I mean, you know, obviously being a man, it's, you know, the support of it and being around women's volleyball, like with everyone I have in it, all our friends, married to one, like I am just ecstatic to see this sport grow. I'm ecstatic to see women's sports grow. I'm ecstatic to see women's volleyball just take over. It's going to be a fun journey over the next 3 to 5 years to see how this just continues to just erupt.
So actually I want to end off, not that I'm a big Nebraska fan, but it's just the dominance all year, and how great this upset was that Texas A&M took them. Nebraska had 7 sets they lost all season. 7. They had 25 straight set wins. They had a 48 straight sets win at home. 48 straight sets. That is an amazing conference play. That's an amazing 2025 season. And so I don't want to disregard Nebraska at all, but Texas A&M, they went there. So congratulations to Jamie Morrison. And I kind of want to go over like who's in the Final Four and give them high level. And I know, Barry, you wanted to talk about that a little bit. We want to start probably with Wisconsin.
So Wisconsin volleyball is a powerhouse. I mean, they have 8 straight Elite Eights and 6 Final Fours in Kelly Sheffield's 13 seasons. They ended Stanford's season knocking out Texas in their own gym, their Big Ten, right?
Yep. The path was they took down Eastern Illinois, they took down North Carolina, they took down Stanford, they took down Texas. But for you and me, Bear, there's 2 Long Beach State kids on that team, right? Mimi Collier
and Charlie,
and Charlie Furbringer. So that's kind of special to us. And of course, Kelly. Now, you know, you hear traditional Coley, UCLA, Stanford, you know, Nebraska. Kelly Sheffield's he's been this Final Four, Elite Eight a lot, and so we can't talk about the Elite Eight or the Final Four without Wisconsin. They're in this thing year in and year out.
No doubt. I mean, look what he's done. I mean, he came out and got one of the best setters in the country out of Southern California and out of Maricosa High School and Charlie Furberger.
Yep.
You know, it's fun for me and tough for me at times. I'm watching the match. You know, I got Jerry coaching and I got Charlie playing. So, I mean, Furbs and Joy are there. We're on different text chains. I'm on a different text chain that's all cheering for Jerry, and I'm cheering for Jerry too.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough one. I'll say this. I think Wisconsin got a lot better during the year. I think, you know, Charlie really didn't miss a beat when she came back from her injury. She might have been a little apprehensive on a few different things, but the first match, we talked about it. Yep. The first match she came back to, she set well. Mm-hmm. And I went back and rewatched the match, and I'll tell you, if you have a moment to go back, she set a beautiful match.
Yeah, technically sound too.
Technically sound. She put her hitters in great positions.
Yep, I agree.
To be successful. Her hitters were successful. There were some tough times where they needed to hit some big plays, but she did a phenomenal job. She set the pipe a lot when they were in transition.
Agreed. Mimi's killing it.
Yeah, there was a few times where you know, she just knew what to do, and you know, that's a product of her upbringing, obviously, and being a part of such an amazing family that's been in this sport for so long. But it's also part of what you just said earlier about Wisconsin. I mean, Charlie's been there for 2 years now. I mean, he's been to 6 Final Fours, I think you said, and I mean, they're there every year. He does a great job recruiting. He obviously has a great culture, and they keep winning, and it's fun. It's fun to see it. You know, I'm obviously, you know, I'm on Set the Pipe, so I guess I can say whatever I want. You know, like I'm cheering for all the women in this, and it's exciting. But I'm cheering for Charlie. Yeah. I mean, now that Jerry's out, like she's like a kid to us. She's one of our best friends, and her family's some of our best friends. And I'll be cheering for Charlie like no one's business for Wisconsin and her to get a natty. You know, I keep talking this. I will take a breath, but I'll say this, and I might have said this once before, but Jake had just lost in the Final Four at UCLA, right? Where it's the next morning, and I'm looking out the window in Indianapolis, and I have a tear in I cry all the time, but I'm kind of like misty-eyed, and I'm sitting there, and Braden looks at me, and he's much younger. He's like, why are you so upset? And I was watching actually an ESPN tribute to a senior from Iowa. Luke Garza was his name, and he had a phenomenal college career at Iowa. They didn't go to the Final Four. I think they lost in the Elite Eight or Sweet 16 that same year Jake went to the Final Four. So I'm kind of crying, and Braden's like, what are you crying for? I said, let me tell you something, Braden. You don't understand this now, and you will. You have no idea how hard it is to go to a Final Four. Mm-hmm. It's hard enough to go to the tournament, but to go to a Final Four at an elite sport in college sports is almost impossible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I said that to him, and he's like, I said, so for me to think Jake's getting back here anytime soon, I mean, I'm going to be pulling for him.
Very few people get to do that.
It's so hard to do. Yeah. And so for me, like, to see Charlie, you know, after the injury, to see her in the Final Four, right? Yeah. Her mom played in the Final Four. Her dad played in the Final Four. Her dad won a natty. Your mom won a natty. Mom lost a natty too. I think Furbs lost a natty as well. But the fact is, but they've been there, right? And so, like, I'm just so elated and excited for her that she got there, because there's no promises. Look what just happened in Nebraska. You just read some unbelievable stats. And I said they were the best team in the country. Yep. I said they were the best team in the country. I said they were not going to lose, and they did. Yeah. Yep. And so they're not even in the Final Four.
You never
That's
know.
The other thing. I actually sent the text early, and I shouldn't have, because it happened to Jerry. But like, they didn't. Those two teams are two of the best teams all year, 1 and 2 most of the whole year. Nebraska was 1 the whole year. They're not even in the Final Four.
Right.
Forget the Elite Eight or the turn. They're not even in the Final Four.
Yep.
Right. It's not easy to get there. So it's just not.
Kentucky, guys. Kentucky is the next team we probably want to talk about. This is their second Final Four, and they've won a national championship before, by the way. They have a great player in Eva Hudson. She was the SEC Player of the Year. They took down Wofford, UCLA, Cal Poly, which was, you know, the kind of the sweetheart of the tournament. And then you have Creighton, which is a great team. But they handled their business. And Craig Skinner, he's not a new guy. He's been around 21 years, right? So Kentucky looked really good, really polished, by the way. What do you, Coley, got any thoughts about Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, I think the SEC is starting to put themselves in, obviously, when Texas moved, as one of the premier, if not the premier, you know, women's volleyball conferences in the country. Pitt, you know, the ACC was right there not too long ago. Now that Stanford's in there too. But Kentucky was one of the best teams all year. They've been like this for the last 3 or 4 years. When Kelsey, my my soon-to-be daughter-in-law was coaching at Tennessee for the 3 years. She always said they were one of the teams that was tough to beat anywhere. They were well coached. They always had the right kind of athlete, and they have a chip on their shoulder, similar to what you guys said about Long Beach. You know, that's the thing about some of these schools. Like Kentucky is not. I'm not saying they're not going to be. Again, Kentucky fans, you're just not a blue blood in women's volleyball right now. You just haven't been. I mean, people would call UCLA a blue blood, even though they haven't even been close in the last whatever years because of all their years of success. But Kentucky's on the road to get there. I mean, they've won a title. They're back again. They're dominant every year. They're in the Sweet 16. They're winning conferences. They're tying for conferences. They're playing big matches within conference. This is going to be a really exciting Final Four because I think everyone, including me, pegged Nebraska. Oh, Nebraska's going to win it. Like, oh, we got to play Nebraska. Well, yeah, someone does, and someone already did and took them out. So all these 4 teams in here have a real chance. It's going to be what coach has them prepared better.
Yeah.
And as you know, like I just said in that match we watched, like, are we going to see stars out? And I'm assuming we are. Yeah. And it's like, it's going to be who gets that last swing, right? So
Texas A&M, they're the ones that took down big Nebraska. They're the grittiest team out there, I think, with their takedown Louisville and like I said, Nebraska. But before that, they had TCU and Campbell before that. But this is their first time in the Final Four. And I got to tell you, from the SEC, Bear, did you ever run into Jamie Morrison out when you were starting to do the USA stuff down south? Did you ever get to know him? He was part of that USA Olympics and Karch's, and I think Spiraz too, for a very long time before they took over Texas A&M.
I don't think I really know him.
Okay.
But like for these guys or for these gals, playing in front of 1.2 million people and taking down the #1 team in the country that was 33-0.
Yep.
I mean, the confidence that they have, I mean, it's a whole nother tournament in the Final Four. It's a whole nother battle. But I got to think that with that kind of confidence and that kind of experience, when you're playing from 23 all to 35, 37, and then 15-13 in the fifth, the experience you get from that, I mean, that you can't buy that. You can't find that in practice. And taking that into the next to their next match, I think is huge.
Yeah, that's very well put. I mean, because they're battle tested, and we talked about that, and it's going to be a big advantage for them. They're not a sleeper right now, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be exciting. Next team, guys, is Pitt, and we all know Dan Fisher, coming from a Southern California boy, and he is in his 5th straight trip to the national semifinals. He's got the returning NCAA Player of the Year and Olivia Babcock. And if you've not watched that kid fly from the back row, she's pretty amazing. They do come from the ACC, and their trip was UMBC, took down Michigan, took down Minnesota, and took down my local kid, Kenna, on Purdue. So they're going to be prepped to get going, and it's going to be an exciting Final Four. But Pitt's been knocking on the door for a number of years now. Could it be their year?
You know, and I'm again pulling for Fish Stick, right? He was a Matador for a while, and he's a great guy, and I'd love to see him win this too. Yeah. Olivia Babcock today, I don't know if you guys saw the All-Americans that came out. She's a 3-time first-team All-American, so welcome to the club.
Kind of like you
just wanted to, you know, there's a few folks that got put on that today, which is impressive. Listen, he's been there. He's hungry. He doesn't like to lose. A few of these women have been there as well. I would say they have a little bit of an advantage too from being there. With that being said, they also have a heavy shoulder. There's something on their back that they need to get rid of. And sometimes that's hard for people. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you see it and they just can't get over that hump.
Can they win it?
Can they win it? They're there. I mean, look at he's, like you said, he's been to the straight Final Fours, but can you get to the finals? Can you win it? Can your team put it in? Now, the good news, I think, for him is, again, this is me just thinking about it, is they're not the favorite to win it. Like, everyone's not like, Pitt's the greatest team ever of all time. Pitt's one of the best teams and has a real shot. So, I mean, like I said, I think it's wide open. I'm excited because I just think it's going to be tactically fun to watch all 4 coaches, see what they want to do to win these matches and how they attack these teams, because they're all different in different ways. A&M is just huge. They're I mean, the way they play, but they're fast and physical. And again, like who's ready to step up and who's not, who's going to, hit 500, 800, who's going to hit 150.
Right.
Those things play out when the lights come on and the whistles blow. But the biggest thing is what Bear said is all of these women 20 years ago, excuse me, I forget they're 18 to 20 years old, 10 years ago would have dreamed to play on a Sunday on ABC and have 1.4 million people watch them.
Yeah.
And so that is a huge win in itself for the sport of women's volleyball. And I'm excited for all of these student athletes to get a chance to play in this environment, because a lot of them won't ever play again. And to have this excitement and such a Final Four and so many people engaged, talking tournaments, talking, having, brackets, you're starting to see that in women's volleyball, right? Yeah. It's starting to become pretty cool. And I can't wait for this weekend to watch. Plus, it's my birthday, so I'm fired up to watch a few matches.
Yeah, so actually it'll be on tonight at 6:30 Eastern, Texas A&M and Pitt. And then at 9 o'clock Eastern time, Wisconsin will go against the Kentucky Wildcats. So good luck to all those athletes out there and all the coaching staff on all the universities. We wish you all the best, and we can't wait to watch you. So again, subscribe to go set the pipe, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Set the pipe, baby.